Hello there folks, SeKo Starcraft here. It's game number 2 between Snute and Daisy. Game number 1 in the link down below. I'll talk about it because it's an opening on a 4-player map, so you gotta find something to talk about here. So go check that out if you haven't. Really exceptional game number 1 there. Snute showing why he is a beast at being able to deal with all kinds of weird games. Double cannon, loses both potential naturals, takes double golds, and actually goes and overwhelms his opponent with Roach Hydra. Very smart play. We actually have a really, I was about to say, really crazy early probe going out. It's like proxy 2 gate on a 4-player map's pretty bold. Looks like it's just going to be a Nexus first, and up here, Snute's likely going to be doing the same things. Let's speed it up a little bit. It is a longer game on a bigger map. But what was impressive about that was, you know, way Snute reacted. But what I thought was weird is that Daisy really didn't spend any time you know, scouting, checking what was going on around the map, you know, using those probes, say, hey, he took the golds, I might have to move out sooner, rather than wait for a 7 gate, maybe I'll go for a 3 gate, put some pressure on, you know, do something else in order to even it up a little bit, to make it more difficult. We actually have a pool first. Snute just might be worried about more cannoning now, so he's going to take it a little bit safer, a little bit slower. He's going to go down there, fight that probe. He knows that it's down there. We have our Nexus going down with a forage once again on this side. That probe's doing a pretty good job being a jerk, I must say. Of the jerks I've seen, it's quite solid. Probe is now pretty beaten up, so we'll get that down. Not super late. Queen and Lings have started, so they didn't waste too much time. And our Overlord's going to come in here and see what's going on. It's more important to see the front and see what the composition is. It is a forge, but that's just a little bit more normal. I want to throw down a cannon. Keeps you pretty safe against just about anything. There's the cannon. He just get himself nice and tight on that wall. Probe wants to see if a third base is going to go down. Couple Lings coming out. Might not find that probe. And yeah, Snute does want to take a fast third, but it's just going to be blocked once again. Gas has started now for the Protoss player, just as the Nexus is about to finish. Ling's coming back home to defend. This probe really weak. And throws down the manner of manners. With 2 Lings here though, I don't know if it's quite worth it. I mean, you can see a big buildup of minerals right now from Snute, so it's not ideal for him. But any little delay, any little advantage Daisy can take, he's going to. And does cancel at the last possible second. And down goes the hatchery. This guy's about to finish up. We'll be hitting them injects. Next queen about to pop. So in a good spot. Overlord's going to come down, see what's going on. Cybernetic score timing. Everything's pretty safe, hunky-dory. Units-wise, pretty even on the economy. With 3 hatches, we should be seeing them stay fairly even. Most of the chrono boost, I'm going to assume. So we're going to go straight into getting more probes out. Cybernetic score's finishing up here pretty quick. Let's see if there's going to be any other tech choices here from our Protoss player. Overlord's going to make his way out of there now. The other interesting thing about Snute is just not, you know, spending a ton of time applying early creep. I would figure in a map like this, with the potentials of pressure, at least get 1 creep tumor started, maybe make its way out of the base, just to get yourself a little bit more situated, ready for any type of pressure that may come. But that's also just Snute's, I'm not going to say genius, but his confidence. He's going to get it? It's worth it? No, he doesn't. It's too bad, it's so close. That you only really, what I'm talking about is the Queen's going to be way more effective injecting than it is dropping creep. But I still like getting the extra queens out. Very interesting style. I like people to go up to like 2 or 3 extra queens. Just really pump that creep up. Speed is on the way. Roach one going down. Standard timings for defense. A couple units may just take the watchtower. Sometimes it's nice to put on a bit of pressure. The problem with no creep is that queens can provide pretty good defense. But if you don't have the creep between bases, it's pretty tough. One zealot is enough to really do some damage here. He might actually lose a good chunk of drones. 2 down so far. 4 down. 5. Nice little snipe there. For one zealot, that's a really good take. Once again, now the units get forced. That's the problem with no creep, is you've got to expect to take damage then. We have roaches and we have speed happening now. Wow, actually it's not defensive roaches. This is enough roaches to go put on some pressure here. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Zergling speed's about to finish up. Surprised he doesn't go after the stalker. I mean, he can get the pylon, but the stalker is way more valuable. In my mind, at least. He would have gotten as well because of the speed being finished. More roaches on the way, more overlords. Going to take a 4th base. Kind of pressure expanding, just like the Protoss player did. 2 cannons are going to be down here, though, with a nice wall. So we'll see if these roaches can actually get some damage in. Lots of zerglings on the way. A lot of surface area in here, right? There's not that many sentries. Mothership core does have enough for a photon overcharge. See if he's going to try to run by. There's a cannon over on this side as well. Not a lot of units out right now for the Protoss player. Lots of units are streaming across the map, but I don't know if this is working out as good as he had hoped. He's really not gone in much damage. Just a lot of units he just threw away. Good hold from Daisy there. Cannons in great spot, photon overcharge, and not much for units, right? That was essentially just held with buildings. Lair about to finish up, Evo chamber going down. Second one. Blink and +2 on the way. +1's just started right now for our Zerg player, so it's going to be a while before he's caught up on upgrades. Well, I guess he does have the double Evo versus just 1 forge. Very delayed robo out of Daisy here. Which is kind of surprising against a Zerg player to have really delayed robos. I mean, it's nice to be able to have out the observers, have out the immortals in case you get those roach pushes, but we see Daisy very confident, knows what he's doing, skips that really early robo and instead invests in his economy. A couple cannons and a photon overcharge are enough to deal with a lot of early Zerg pressure. Overall economy, Zerg's up a good chunk right now, getting out a ton of overlords. He's got the money to spend, he's going to get that out of the way. More roaches, roach speed, and +1 armor on the way now as well. Still no creep whatsoever. And it's a weird thing to think risking about 1 round of instead of injects put into 1 creep tumor from each queen, and you would have a really good, amount of creep out there. Hydra den started now. I'm sure in the Protoss matchup it's not as critical to have the creep as in a, anti-Terran matchup, but still, just saying. Roaches are in a little bit of a tough spot. They might actually be able to get sniped from the high ground. I wouldn't have mind maybe staying there, see if the roaches, dawdle too close to the ledge. Big pile of zerglings coming on the other side. She runs past a bunch of the force fields. Lings on the back end get a bit of surface area, but they're going to get cleaned up pretty fast. He's got himself a couple of those sentries, a couple of stalkers. Big warping of stalkers, and Blink is done. So this is a pretty big commitment out of Snute. There's no running away from this. Good Blink micro. He's just going to run for it. There's not too much else he can do. If he stays in fights, nice time ward. If he stays in fights, the Blink micro will just tear it apart anyways. So he's going to lose most of his units, but he'll have enough left over hopefully to fight this. Hydra's on the way. Hydra range is still a little bit behind. A lot of stalkers. +2 stalkers. We have 1-1 for our Zerg army, so it's, it's nice. So he's going to snipe a gas. And we see that there's a lot of minerals for Zerg player, not necessarily a lot of gas, so it'd be a bad thing. We have a warp prism in here as well. He's going to pull the drones from both sides. He's going to take this very seriously. Warp prism goes down. One more prism. Mothership core goes down. Would like to see him get on top of that warp prism. He has some hydras out. He's going to try to get him in position. Great pullback by Daisy just in time. Will keep that alive. 24 drones were lost in that fight, though. So if you look at the overall economy, he's down by a lot at this moment. 2-2 started, so he's going to be ahead on upgrades for the next fight that they take here. Bunch of drones coming out. Now he's going to start his creep. A little bit of extra energy you can see on these queens would be nice to use up. Got some zealots and a warp prism. He's going to try and put some damage in on the main base. I don't see enough players do this. Just engage the multitasking. Keep your armies out somewhere where you can put on some pressure, and then, you know, use this harassment to keep yourself in the game. The Zerg player left unchecked, do pretty good. Also kind of surprised we haven't seen a hive yet come out of here. Just, I will count down once he drops. What? I don't know what that means, but whatever. There's some weird, sketchy behavior going on with some of the observation and the IEM there. Very strange, some spamming and so forth. In comes our warp prism. We'll see how many drones he can get now. Not much in position to deal with this. Another big warp in of zealots. Plus 2 zealots doing a really good job. They're going to try and go after this lair here. Don't think they're going to get it. Drones on hold position. Trying to delay the zealots a little bit. He's going to lose a lot of zealots in that. It's only 5 workers. A lot of force fields are going to get pushed out here. It's most of his force fields gone. It's again just a big stalker army. Daisy is electing not to go to a higher tech level. Not to worry about colossus. Maybe even storm. Those are pretty good force fields there. Hydras have range, but they're not getting a lot of shots off here. Zerglings tanking some damage, getting on top of the units. Sentries are going to go down. Pylon's going to get sniped. Those units probably would have died anyways. So big waste of a warping round. And this Protoss army, just stalkers alone aren't going to be able to cut it. Daisy's got great control. Good use of force fields and blink. But this is a lot of stuff. This 4th base going to get mowed over. Hydras can just take this. The DPS is so fast, you can't blink micro against Hydra shots. Zergling's going to handle what's down here. We can see the line of red coming across the minimap. Cannon goes down. He's actually target firing down these warping in units, which is going to be exciting in the next expansion. With Legacy of the Void, you have like half health or half armor or something like that when you're warping in. So warping in units are super, super weak. So you're not going to be able to like warp in walls of stuff in the middle of a battle anymore. I think he will save this Nexus just barely. More sentries are warped in, but not much for energy there. Observer still chilling. Snute's almost maxed. Has some creep, but he's just finally moving it now. Hasn't cared so much about his creep movement. If he had creep most of the way across the map by now, thinking his pushing would have been a lot stronger. Viper's coming out. Plus 3 attack. Pneumatized Carapace. We have 2-1 against 2-0. Oh, that's right, because that's he hasn't done melee. Against 2-2, soon to be 3-2. Zealot charge. It's useful, but because he's relying so much on force fields and sentries, I don't think charge that is that useful. Your zealots are either going to get stuck behind your army, behind the force fields, or get cordoned off from the rest of the army with the force fields. So I don't think charge is a good use of money at this point. Pretty good force fields, but the concave's just going to move over a little bit. Almost loses some of the Vipers. I'm sure at this point Snute's kind of like, where's your Colossus, bro? So he's going to use a blinding cloud. A lot of stalkers unable to shoot inside of that. Time warp goes down, but that's just delaying this a little bit. So much army. Starting to see some probes go down on this side as well. That Nexus is toast. We see Enduring Locusts on the way. Adrenal Glands. +1 melee. Just getting all the upgrades you could ever need. And this is pretty much done. Good play out of Daisy. Actually was able to put Snute a little bit of his comfort zone at the beginning. But this, you know, complete foregoing of any type of power units, any type of splash damage, just don't think it works in convention. Right? I don't think there's a single matchup where you can go into the late game and hope that just works out. All these warpins are dying before they really even get to the, you know, to the battleground. Pretty good positioning on these stalkers, but the Hydras, very well upgraded Hydras once again, just gonna crush through that. Great games out of Snute. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see everybody later.